What's going on, my fellow kino lords? So I just got off of work and I am parked in my driveway and just decided I would just go ahead and talk about a film that I saw yesterday with Blair and Jen, and that film is called Bottoms, which is written and directed by Seligman and co-written by Rachel Sennott, which I think is amazing. But before I get into this film, I do want to say again, I apologize for the huge lack of content these past few months. Again, it's all because I've been wrapped up in this short film that I've been making, and I'm happy to say that post-production with it is finally done, and I'm pretty satisfied with the outcome and proud of what me and everybody involved was able to accomplish. I actually went ahead and submitted it to a few film festivals. I already heard back from the Atlanta Horror Film Festival and they accepted it. They're gonna screen it on October 13th, which is on a Friday at 3:30 p.m. So if you're in the Atlanta area, feel free to come and show some support and check the film out. But yeah, so that being said, with that out of the way, I'm gonna try to get back in the groove of reviewing movies and just doing what I always did. And today I'm talking about Bottoms. Tomorrow I plan to talk about All That Jazz. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, I'm here in my driveway. Here's my neighbor's houses. They have no idea I'm recording them. But yeah, so Bottoms is a film that I basically didn't really know anything about going into it. Really, the only thing I knew about it was that it was a high school comedy, and again, that it's written and directed by Seligman, who again also wrote and directed Shiva Baby, which is a film that I absolutely adore. Love that movie to death. And again, also starring Rachel Sennott, which she was great in. And yeah, so going into this movie, didn't know much, and I came out of it quite enjoying it. This was quite a fun film. I'm gonna be honest, it kind of took me a good 15 minutes or so to actually start getting into it. I don't know if it was exactly the film's fault or if it's just like the nature of its approach that kind of took me a while to get on board with, because this film is very over the top. It's extremely cartoony and very satirical and just like outrageous and unrealistic in so many different ways, and it's obviously intentional. That's like the stylistic approach. It just kind of took a while because everything was just kind of a little bit too cartoony for me. It kind of caught me off guard, and the humor wasn't really landing for me. It just felt kind of awkward. But again, after a while, I started really digging what this film was going for. I started to really appreciate a lot of the humor and just found most of the stuff in this film very, very enjoyable. Rachel Sennott is fantastic in this film. She's my favorite character. She always brings this type of attitude to her characters' personalities that I always just find so fascinating and so enjoyable to watch. She's just very committed to this role and to the humor that this film is offering. Her co-star, I don't really know how to pronounce her name, but her first name is Ayo. Never really seen her in anything before, but she was also really good in this as well. So yeah, this is a film that is tackling a lot of issues, but in a very light way. It's not trying to really go all that deep with gender roles or tackling issues with feminism and identity and the way that those who identify within the LGBT community are treated in high school, how the unbalance between men and women. Like, these are all themes that are in the movie, but it's not really handled with like utmost sincerity. Like, it kind of just has fun with these things, and that to me I think was a good approach, because it made it to where I felt like I could just enjoy this movie for what it was. And yeah, this film it's basically a queer high school comedy that's really, really over the top and just a whole bunch of fun. And I mean, there's elements of this film that I was just dying with laughter. Like, there are some really, really great gags in this film, really great sequences. I think the ending to this film is just so insane and just so much fun. And again, like, I think pretty much all the characters in this film I thought were just well written and just overall delivered like a decent amount of comedy that I found landed quite well. You know, almost all these characters have their moments to shine, and when they shine, I think it does work well. So yeah, I mean, really all I can say about this film is when you go into it, just try to be prepared, you know, for how unrealistic and over the top that this film is. This is a film that is making fun of a lot of things. It's making fun of high school cliches. It's making fun of the way that women view men, the way that men view women, and it's just really over the top with these types of cliches and tropes and perspectives. And I think if you go into it just knowing that it's that kind of movie that is not really meant to be realistic in the slightest, I think that you'll have a lot of fun with it. And yeah, I mean, really the only criticisms that I do have is, again, it just took me a while. I wasn't really that into the first 10 or 15 minutes of this film. You know, not all the jokes land like throughout. It's not like a film where, like, you know, it gets to a point where like all the jokes are just hitting. It hits most of the time, but there are certainly some attempts here and there that I just thought fell flat and didn't really work. There's some moments of like attempts at woke humor that sometimes work, but then sometimes it's just like like there's this black conservative character in the film that, you know, they try to, you know, explore her character in a really satirical way with some of the things that she says, and sometimes it works, sometimes I thought it was just kind of corny and dumb. But yeah, and there are some moments that, even though it is like really, it's supposed to be intentionally unrealistic and over the top, there are some moments that are meant to be taken seriously, even though it's a really over the top depiction of something. So with moments like that, it didn't quite work. But overall, like, I really, really did enjoy this film. I'm really glad I watched it. I found so much enjoyment in it. And I'll probably watch it again sometime soon, because as far as high school comedy goes, I think that teenagers and adults can get a lot out of this and just have a great time with it. I mean, obviously, I prefer Shiva Baby to this, but it's a completely different film. It's almost, you can't even compare the two, really. The only thing that you can really compare them is really, they're both humorous, but that's about it. They're totally different animals. But yeah, I enjoyed this film, and I will give it a soft 7 out of 10. I know a lot of my friends really, really enjoyed it. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as they did, but I still quite enjoyed it. And I do recommend everybody to go out and see it and support this movie, because Rachel Sennott and Emma Seligman put their money together to produce this and the resources together to produce this. So I think it's awesome that they were able to make their own little unique indie high school comedy. You don't really see high school comedies that are like this, just because not only is it really outrageous, but it just explores queer characters and queer themes in a way that you don't really see much. But that's my review of Bottoms. If you really enjoyed what I had to say, please give it a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content.